Hey everyone, welcome back to Brown Coat Nerd. Today we will be looking at the Beretta 85BB, no I'm not stuttering, Cheetah. Clearly my Cheetah impersonation has gotten rusty over the years. So what we have here, like I said, we have the Beretta 85, which is part of the Cheetah series of Berettas. Real quick, let's go ahead and tackle that. Apparently, Cheetah is not technically a correct term for these guns. They only started using the term Cheetah in '95 on the 81, 82, 84, and 85. Oh, excuse me. F and FS series of the pistols. And even then, from my understanding, that term Cheetah would only be put on the guns that were built for the commercial market. A lot of these were built for police, and a lot of times they got special serial numbers and different roll marks, so they would not feature the Cheetah name on those. Also, these are known from Beretta as the 80 series. However, for many, many years, fans and collectors of the guns have referred to these actually as the 81 series, because at the time Beretta did make an 81, but it is a target pistol. It has absolutely nothing to do with these type of pistols. It was not actually even included in the lineup for them, so collectors often refer to these as the 81 series. However, that has all changed at SHOT Show 2023, as Beretta has announced that they will be producing at least one of these versions again, known as the 80X. And essentially what that is an 84, which is the double stack version of this, and it's just further evolved from the last update of the series under the FS name. And that is called the 80X. So now technically there is a proper 80 in the series. So you can't be scolded anymore for calling a Cheetah an 80 series, because now technically it is correct. So now that we have that out of the way. This is actually my third Cheetah that I have purchased. The first one I purchased, and I've done a video on this as well, was the 85F. This was also by far my most popular video that I've ever made to date. It's currently, I think, like at 55,000 views or something, which is cool. And also the first time I did that stupid freaking Cheetah impersonation, so that just became a thing whenever I did one of these videos. In my video on this, I did say that this is military surplus because it has the PM mark right there on the slide. And also was refurbished by, I forget the arsenal name, but the marking is fat. You'll see that a lot of the Carcanos. Apparently this was actually policed. As in many countries, the police are actually part of the military. So I've had people tell me this actually belongs to the, oh shoot, I'm going to mispronounce this. The Cabarini, the street police, the highway police, whatever. So that was my first purchase. Then a few years later, I got an 81. This one, I forget the Italian name for it, but basically it was a prison guard pistol. This is the 81. It's in 32 ACP. This is the double stack version. And this is the no prefix. This is an original model, so it's just 81. That's it. Whereas this is the 85F. But what we'll be looking at today is the 85BB. Now the 85 is a 8+1 single stack 380 single action double action pistol with a 3.8-inch barrel. This version does not have a decocker. The versions that would replace this, starting with the F and later the FS, would have decockers. But BB, the previous B, and then the previous just flat out normal 85, it was just a safety, no decocker. So I do want to point that out. A lot of times I'll see people say that all of them have decockers, not realizing that was only on the last two versions, the F and the FS. Well, and now, of course, the 80X. But that's technically an 84. Anyways, let's just forget about that and keep getting sidetracked on that. So what the BB adds over the traditional ones, the original ones, the just standard 85s, first and foremost is a firing pin block. So big safety upgrade there. I do believe they added additional internal safeties other than just the firing pin block, for example, you can see that the trigger is completely disconnected when the safety is off. Whereas on, obviously this is a 32 ACP, but the same updates across the line, you can see the trigger is not disconnected with the safety on. I do believe they did that trigger disconnect on the B. It might have come about with the BB. I'm not positive on that. So what the B has over your standard ones, I believe the B added that firing pin block, and then I could be wrong on this, but I believe it does have the front and back strap serrations. Then when the BB came about, one of the big upgrades, these sights now are a 2-dot sight system, whereas before it was just a simple basic blacked out sight. Also, we got more serrations on the slide this time as well. We can see those serrations going further up. Another upgrade, which I don't see too many people talk about, is the slide, and I did measure it. Eventually I'll do a comparison video with all these cheetahs. I like to get a B version of one of the cheetahs thrown in there. But the slide on the BB is a little bit thicker than your standard version. Now whether the slide was thicker or not, I'm not positive on that, but I do know on the BB the slide is thicker. You can kind of see it go down. This is probably the original width right here, back where the safety is. You can see it step down there, whereas on the original, no step, because it's a little bit thinner. And then of course on the F and FS, once again it was made, the slide was made a little bit thicker. So like I said, the trigger disconnect. Those are the big advantages of the BB. Then obviously they would come out with the F and FS. These added the squared off trigger guard, which is the easiest way to identify them. They also quit bluing them, and I forget what the name of this coating is. It's kind of the same type of coating they use on the original M9s. Not as fancy looking. It's not glossy. It's more of a matte black look, but I guess it's a lot more durable. I could definitely see it being more durable against scratches compared to the bluing. Also, the frame is a little more of a squared out angle there. Whereas here, let's get away from that scratch side. You can see it kind of curves up. Just a little more classic lines with the BB compared to the F. The grip material was also changed. This is kind of like a almost Bakelite. I'm almost positive it's not Bakelite. But this stuff seems, once again, more durable against scratches, and also it just seems like a better quality material altogether. Also, the F gets the decocker. So just a quick rundown of what the differences are on that. So this particular one I did purchase from Atlantic Firearms, February of 2023, and I did pay a premium for it. I was a little apprehensive about this price, but I really wanted one in as close to as perfect condition as possible. So I did pay $489 for this. Now I did hop on there, and I think Atlantic Firearms as well as Aim Surplus. There might have been some other places that have some of these in stock right now. But specifically the 85BB. And you can get one for about $100 less. But those will range anywhere in condition from fair to good. This particular one that I paid $489 for was rated at very good to excellent. And I just wanted a really clean example. And overall, I have to say I'm very happy with this. I haven't really cleaned this up much. I mean, I just went over it with the, the Birchwood Casey, what's that stuff called? The barricade wipes. And that's really it. Now we see we do have a little bit of a nick right there, real minor. That's probably the biggest nick. Let's see if I can touch that up with some of the Illuma Black. And then we got a little line on the barrel there. The sights are a little bit dark, but I think I can clean those up some. If I need to, I'll just touch them up. A little bit of a nick right there. Got one there as well. And then a little bit of wear on this back strap. But other than that, pretty good shape. The grips aren't in perfect shape, but they're not very bad either. And like I said, this style of material just seems to scratch very easily. The original grips, same material, but they didn't add the checkering all the way up. They added this checkering further up at some point in the life. You will see these original ones with the full checkering grips as well. Whether that's just from people purchasing these guns and putting on better grips, or if this was something that got upgraded fairly early on, they started making them that way, or if it was re-arsenaled and needed new grips or something, if they just put on these full checkered grips, whereas these were just kind of half checkered. And then, like I said, later on, it would be that same style of grip, but just a different polymer. So you'll see a lot of the older versions, the pre-Fs, with the F-style grip panels on them. So those are pretty common. Not a big deal for me because I was hoping to get one in good shape, and I do plan on changing the grips. Thought I brought the... Yeah, I did. Here they are. These literally just showed up in the mail today. So that is what I'm planning on putting on there. Originally, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of make a quote-unquote barbecue gun out of this. My understanding of the definition of barbecue gun is pretty much a really nice looking gun, a gun that's in really good shape, but it doesn't necessarily have to be something that's expensive. You can take a cheaper gun, you know, re-blue it, make it nice, put some fancy looking grips on there, and that would qualify as a barbecue gun. I was going to kind of go that route with this. I tried to find pearl grips for this. I know, guys, I just think this will look really slick with pearl grips. I cannot find any actual pearl grips anywhere for the 85. I found some that would be like white plastic that had been sprayed over with like a sparkling paint. Those aren't pearl grips. I did, however, find some pearl grips for the double stack versions, and since I got that 32 ACP, something I kind of thought about, I went ahead and ordered some, so I'll do a follow-up video on that. But I figured the classic wood grips would look good on this. Also, it says this is for the F and FS. I'm pretty sure these will fit on here, though. Once again, we'll have a follow-up video. Also, very tempted to fill in the lettering with some paint. I'm not sure if I'm going to go that route. And you can see there's some few, it's coming up on the camera, it looks like real minor nicks. Rubbing my finger across it, I don't feel anything at all. So that's nice. That was one of the things I was very disappointed with my 81, is you can definitely feel those nicks. This seems like a very easily spot for these to get nicked up at. So, yeah, there's that. Now, I have not shot this particular one yet. Obviously, I have shot my 85F. You know, it shoots okay. I will say with the F, I was a little disappointed with the accuracy at first. I had purchased that to be a carry gun. Never really ended up carrying it regularly since then. I ended up getting a Glock 43, you know, decided to get something modern. And then I took both the Beretta and the Glock out. This was the F. And all of a sudden, I shoot great with the F. So that kind of renewed my interest in the Cheetah. Plus, I just think these are classic lines. I don't have the biggest of hands. These are a smaller gun, but for me, I mean, they fit perfectly in my hand. So if you're someone that's of a smaller stature, you have small hands, these are great guns. Also, if you're recoil sensitive, these are a great option because, you know, they range in caliber from 22 LR to 32 ACP to 380, which none of those is very, you know, heavy on the felt recoil. The heaviest of those would be the 380. And I do remember with my F, it was a little bit snappier than what I expected. It wasn't anything bad, but it was definitely more than what I expected. Now, I know James made fun of people like me that said that the Cheetahs and 380s are snappy. But yeah, at the very least is more than I was expecting. But it's still nothing that's like bad. It's still a very soft shooting gun, especially the 32. Holy cow. These are also great for first-time shooters, as it's not a heavy recoil. Especially people that are smaller stature, learning to shoot. You don't want to give them a very large, heavy gun. These were just great for that. So the elderly, the youth, people with small hands, this is a good gun. It's not quite a pocket carry. I mean, it could be if you wanted it to be. There's way better options out there. Another thing that I see comes up a bunch. Let's get some common misconceptions about this. A lot of people will say, I guess it doesn't really pertain to this one so much. I'm going to bring it up again. I brought it up in my video for this. When I made my video for this, there was hardly any videos on the cheetahs at all. Recently, I got back on YouTube, kind of wanted to freshen up my knowledge of these, as well as kind of see if there's any new videos on cheetahs, and holy cow, is there. There's tons of them. Like when I did my video on this, I watched all of the cheetah videos on YouTube. Now I have like new ones getting popped up in my recommendations regularly that I haven't seen. So they definitely have gained some popularity, especially recently with the announcement of the 80X at SHOT Show. I kind of think it rejuvenated people's interest, and I will give credit where credit is due. I do honestly believe that the TFB video, where James makes fun of people that think that this is a snappy gun in 380, I do think that also rejuvenated some interest in these guns. So what I was getting to, people will say that you can either carry this with the hammer down and the safety on, or with the hammer back and the safety on. You see how it just went up a little bit? So once again, with these older ones, yes, that is an option. Okay, there's no in-between position there. And people think all of a sudden that you can do that with these. No, you can't. It will fire. That's not a safety position. Obviously I do think that Beretta should do something to these, or should have done something to these. I'm curious to see how the 80X is. But there's a little detent there. I mean, I understand where people are coming from, especially if they're reading up on these and they don't realize they're reading about the older models, saying that you can carry it with the hammer back and the safety on. You know, they do that and they're like, oh, okay, cool, you know, that's an option. No. You're going to seriously injure yourself if you do that. So if you have an F or an FS, you cannot carry it with the hammer back and the safety on, which personally I'm fine with. I prefer the decocker and just carry it with double action and the safety off. So, one, to clarify that. The other thing that, once again, I tackled in my other videos on these, and I still see people going back and saying this quite often, even some of the YouTubers who I watch a lot of their videos and do like, people keep saying this is a shrunken down 92. Now, while it absolutely does look like a shrunken down 92, and many of the controls are similar, and some of the features are similar, and it looks similar, this is not a 92. The 92 has a dropping lug or a wedge on the barrel. This is a direct blowback. There's no, I should have pulled my 92 out. There's no lugs here. This is just simply a direct blowback. Now that is very unusual because most direct blowbacks do not have a guide rod. They typically will use the barrel as the recoil spring guide rod. But yes, they do make direct blowbacks with guide rods. That is a thing. I've got a few of them. So not a huge deal, but if you think you just purchased a miniature 92, you purchased something that looks like a miniature 92. Also, I've seen people say that this was the predecessor to the 92, and this is what kind of helped inspire the design of the 92. No. They really started life at about the same time. They were being developed at the same time, so that's why I think you see a lot of these features that mimic those of the 92. It's just, that's what Beretta was doing at the time. So that's what you end up with. Another thing I will see, and I've even had people comment on my previous videos, because all three of these do not feature a magazine disconnect safety. Now what that means is if the magazine is removed, you cannot fire the gun. Clearly, you can on these. Did some looking into on that. I even had people commenting saying you shouldn't be shooting that gun. It clearly is not mechanically operating correctly, blah, 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 blah. Well, typically, Not always, but typically guns that have magazine disconnect safeties, the manufacturer designs them in a way where it's very easy and very simple to remove that magazine disconnect, to let that be the shooter's preference as to whether they want that or not. Now, why would you not want that? I've seen some people say it lightens up the trigger, that once you put one of those in there, it adds extra grittiness to the feel of the trigger. Typically, your magazines do not drop away. Your empty mags do not drop away when they have a magazine safety in there, because they do use the magazine pushing up on that safety for it to know when a magazine is in there. So a lot of people would rather just not have that. I am one of those people, so I don't mind that none of these came with a magazine disconnect safety. If you really want one, you can purchase one of those parts if Beretta offers it, or if you find one, and very easily install it. It's basically on these, it's basically a little metal bar and a wire spring. Now, my research on these, I was reading up on them. Beretta specifically designed it so it'd be easily removed. Also, on the, I'm not sure the official name, but the Beretta forums, once again, TFB brings up those forums, and it's the exact same ones that I was getting a lot of my information from for the past couple of years. According to them, though, Beretta would make these both with and without the magazine disconnect safety. Initially, I just assumed that, you know, whatever police force was using them, the cop or whoever took it to the armor and said, I don't want this magazine disconnect safety on there, and they would remove it for him. However, it looks like out of the factory, at least for law enforcement, I don't know if this was an option for the commercial versions, but for the Cheetahs or 80s or 81s, whatever, that was an option for law enforcement straight out of the factory, for it to either come with a magazine disconnect safety or for it to not come with a magazine disconnect safety. And I did see some roll marks on the later F and FS series where, depending if it came out of the factory with or without one, it would have stamped on the slide, this gun can fire without a magazine inserted. And I think the other roll mark said this gun can or will not fire without a magazine inserted. I don't know how many, that probably was very late in the production, because I don't think I've ever seen those roll marks on any of the Cheetahs other than on that forum. But just so you know, out of the factory, that was an option to not have them in the Berettas. Now, maybe these did come with them and they were later removed, but people saying that this gun is no longer safe and is inherently dangerous because that's been removed, it's just dumb and stupid. And that's how Beretta offered it. It was offered to be removed. Not even all of them came with that. So that's one thing I'm getting tired of looking at. But yeah, so there's that. The magazine disconnect safety was an option. Now then, Atlantic, when I purchased this from them, they did advertise this as Israeli police surplus. So initially I was kind of bummed out by that, honestly, because both of my other Cheetahs are Italian police surplus. I've got a 92S that is also police surplus, and it's an Italian gun to begin with. Typically when I buy a surplus gun, I want it to be surplus from that country. So if, like, you know, I'm buying a CZ82, I want it to be surplus from, you know, Czechoslovakia. It's not, I'll still buy it if it's surplus from somewhere else, but to me it's not as cool when it's not surplus by its native country. I know it's a weird thing about me. I'm not saying that I don't want Israeli surplus in my collection. I'm not saying anything like that. I've got a beautiful Jericho 941 that I still need to do a video on. And that's Israeli surplus. And that's perfect. That's exactly how I want it. It's Israeli made, Israeli used. That's how I want it. Italian made, Italian used is how I want it. But like I said, I've been on the hunt for one of these just in really good shape. And so I saw that and I was like, whatever, I can live with it. However, when I got it, I noticed a few issues. First of all, when I went to my FFL and we're looking at it, the guy that was checking me in actually recognized the small little brown box it came in. And I was like, oh, is this a Cheetah? And I discovered that he's a big collector of cheetahs. One, he made me feel a little bit better about the price I paid and the condition it was in. He was like, no, I didn't get ripped off. He's like, you did good. But the other thing was, he was looking at it. At one point, I swear he mentioned, when he was asking me who imported it, and I hadn't even had a chance to look at the gun, he was like, oh, PW Arms imported it. So then I fill out the paperwork, take a few pictures. And the gun didn't come home with me that day. But as I'm looking at the pictures, I get very confused, because I see Beretta USA Corp. So this was imported by Beretta USA. So I was like, holy cow, does it have 2 import marks? Now I'm getting excited, because I'm like, this gun came into the country and then somehow left and then came back in. It does not have 2 import marks. There's no... It was imported by Beretta USA. I'm not sure what happened there with miscommunication with me and him. So immediately a lot of mystery was dissolved there. Okay, it was only imported once. That makes sense. And it was kind of cool that it was imported by Beretta USA. For one, they took their time with that import mark. And it's not bad. If you didn't look really close, you might not even realize that's not an original roll mark. Now, just for reference, my F was imported by R Guns. They put this on here. I don't know what, if that's like a decal or what. I don't feel any recess. It doesn't recess into the frame at all. So nicely done. It looks nice, but however, at the same time, like from a distance, I feel like this looks like a airsoft gun or something. It just kind of looks fake. And then on my 81, which was imported by PW Arms, they did a very tasteful, none of that dot matrix junk. This one you can feel some recession, but it was then on the lower trigger guard, so that is perfect. So I was happy once again to find out I didn't have a horribly ugly import mark, plus it's imported by Beretta USA. It's almost original, almost can be considered original, right? So, imported by Beretta USA. It was not imported twice, but the other thing, GF. And as soon as I saw that, I knew something was up. I'm like, I feel like that's an Italian mark. I feel like I've seen that on a lot of Italian surplus. So, with some help by my awesome Facebook friend, Sonny Burnett, who is a retired Italian police officer, still lives over there in Italy. He loves talking and discussing old Italian police surplus, pistols, holsters, cars. He loves all of that stuff. So he's been very helpful in me doing some research. And so before I even did any research on this, he was able to fill me in. He was like, nope, that is definitely not Israeli surplus. You have the GF on there. GF stands for, where did I write it down? Guardia di Finanza. So I looked into what they do. And basically they deal with everything from like taxes, or kind of like the IRS, but they also deal with like money fraud, money laundering, and I think they also deal with like drug smuggling or smuggling of like different things into the country. So that's what they do. A little more hardcore than the IRS. So that is the specific force that used these guns. And Sonny did verify that, yes, the Guardia di Finanza did use the 84, which is the double stack version of this, as well as the 85. So not Israeli surplus. It is, in fact, Italian surplus, which is awesome. To me, I would have wanted to purchase this that much more, because I have, you know, penitentiary police, Cabarini, and now Guardia di Finanza. That is perfect. All three of my cheetahs are all three Italian surplus, but from different departments. I couldn't ask for a better variety there. So very, very happy with that. Also, I just kicked the tripod. I forgot to pull this out, but there it is. Believe I have the original holster for this gun. So I purchased this holster pretty cheap years ago, just to go with my 85 or my 81. I forget which cheetah. See, Nicoletta's holster. See here, Nicoletta. Nicoletta. So I believe this is the proper Guardia di Finanza holster for this. I meant to message. Ooh, no, it's not. Or I could have shrunk. Sonny, I meant to message you about this before I started the video, but I ended up having time to make the video today, so I just jumped on it. Alright, there we go. How nice is that? Holsters that I'll never use, but I always like to have the proper holster to go with my guns. Okay. Throw that back in the holster pile. So, like I said, I haven't really cleaned this up, so hopefully this will look even a little better than it does now. But the wear is really not bad. I did take this apart. This would appear, to me if I had to guess, this gun had maybe half a box of ammo shot through it, 20 to 30 rounds, and then was just put up and never cleaned. So when I took the slide off, it definitely had gunpowder in there, so I just kind of wiped down the feed ramp on the barrel. I put a little bit of oil on the rails, and then I just threw it back together. I didn't even jump into a deep clean. I will say that this mag release on here, these mags do drop free. This, oh, okay, yeah, we're feeling much better now. This was super freaking stiff. So I did go ahead and take off the grip panel and put a little drop of oil on there and then worked it quite a bit. I mean, this was really stiff. This feels 100 times better already. So that's nice. It gets that oil just kind of soaked in there. Also, this did come with 2 mags, which is nice. I remember when I purchased my 85, it only came with 1. At the time, mags were very hard to find. Eventually, I did buy 1 or 2 mags from Classic. And those were all, you know, typical surplus condition. Nothing too bad, but they've got wear on them. They've definitely have been used. But the mags that came with the BB are like, you got a little bit of wear there, but practically immaculate condition. So, 1, I'm very happy it came with 2 mags. 2, I'm very happy that they look in great shape. These are definitely way better shape than any of my other 85 mags. So I got plenty of mags for the 85. That's pretty stinking cool. Another misconception people have, and often misspeak on this, is they'll say that the single stack grips are just as thick as the double stack grips, so it's stupid to get a single stack. It makes no sense. Now, while they're incorrect with that statement, they're not terribly far off either, because the single stacks are thinner than the double stack, but really not by much. Like if you were to put some lock grips on the double stack, you're probably bringing it down to the single stack thickness, or at the very least really close. Now holding this one, I will say, and this also has the original plastic style grip. Obviously I showed you some wood grips, but there's different style of wood grips these were originally offered with as well. But I do feel like this, I would like it just a hair thinner. If I'm going to be really picky, like this feels fine, but I feel like it just feels a skosh too fat. Like I say, those lock grips, they thin it out quite a bit. I did order some lock grips for this guy, so eventually we'll do a video on those once those show up. These here, I feel like they could be just a skosh thicker. So the grips are very close. They definitely are very close, but the single stack is thinner than this double stack. It's just not by much. So I wanted to clarify that up. Okay, so looking around YouTube, I was hoping to find some videos of people that have gotten other Berettas out of this batch from Atlantic Firearms and Scooch, as well as the Koba 49. They both have videos on these. They both got some that were in the very good to excellent condition. And both of them say that Atlantic sold out like within a day or two. Now, I got onto Atlantic just today, and I'm making that video a week or so after I got this, these are still available in the very good to excellent condition for $489. So I'm assuming that they had gotten a batch in. And originally I was like, okay, well maybe those were the Israeli police surplus. And then they got another batch in and just never updated their description of them. Now in Koba's video, I can't really see a good shot of the roll mark over here. However, Scooch's video, you can see the side very clearly. And you can see the one that he has GF. So it's definitely a Guardia di Finanza and not Israeli surplus. However, smartly, he does not mention that Atlantic says they're Israeli surplus, which is good because the one that he has is not. The one that Scooch has is in immaculate shape, even better than this. Koba, his has got a little bit more wear marks. Like I kind of feel bad if he sees this video, because you know they paid a premium for him, and this one is, I think, in much better shape than the one that he got. The one that he got has quite a bit of wear up here. Like, I would not qualify the one that he got as very good to excellent. Definitely good, but not very good to excellent. To me, very good to excellent, that's like practically brand new out of the box with maybe a few nicks and dings on it. So that kind of sucks. But so Scooch's video, his was definitely Guardia di Finanza. So I don't know how long Atlanticus has that description of it being Israeli surplus listed up there. Another way you can verify that this is Guardia di Finanza is the prefix on the serial number here is Y. And that, at least as far as the... where did I write it down? I don't want to misspeak here. Prefix. On the 84 and 85, so both the single stack and the double stack version of the 380, if the serial number begins with Y, not only is it police surplus, but specifically Guardia di Finanza. And then, not that it really matters because this will be on all of them, but the Y at the end just indicates that it's 380, and not one of the other calibers. Once again, you have that serial number breakdown on the Beretta forums, so there is some very good information up there. But I just kind of thought that was interesting. Also, since these are imported by Beretta USA, technically it comes in a Beretta box. And it's just a cardboard box. I honestly was kind of hoping to get like a blue plastic box or something, but I still got my authentic Beretta box. It's just not what I expected. So you can see it does have the Beretta logo there. And then this sticker here was plastered over this other sticker, which kind of bums me out. That's why this is all ripped up. But you can see it has the actual Beretta sticker on there, which I thought was kind of cool. Would have been a lot happier if I could have saved that. But it is what it is. So, like I said, overall I'm very happy with this purchase, especially that plum trigger and that plum takedown lever. Oh yeah. Safety's a little plum too, I guess. You will see that a lot on these Berettas. It's almost plum, but not quite. Some people don't like them. I freaking love the plum, highlighted parts. They don't do that on purpose. It's just something in the bluing process, either the chemical or the salt mixture being slightly off, and they end up coming out plum color. And like I said, I think they're just absolutely beautiful. I will say that the safety on this, like on my 81, very easy to manipulate, both safety on and safety off. I do not have to change my grip at all whatsoever. However, my F, safety comes off very easy, which is good, but there's... that took every bit of strength I had. Yeah, sucks. Once again, hopefully something they fixed on the 80X. So, and then of course we've got a couple of proof marks. Now, Beretta also does use a date code that they will stamp on my 81. You can't really see it, but it says, is that AF? Yeah. says AF, when that stands for as, I'm just kidding. That means 81, or excuse me, 1980. However, both on my BB and my F, I cannot find that date stamp freaking anywhere. You know, taking off the grips, everything. So I don't know if that's something they changed later on. So I'm not sure exactly what year this particular BB was made. They did make the BBs from... I need to organize my notes better. They made the BB from 1982 to 1988 before switching over to the F model. So this is anywhere from an 82 to an 88. Somewhere in there. Oh, and one last thing. I forgot to do the trigger pull on this. I have not done the trigger pull test yet, so we're just going to go ahead and do it on camera. I got the basic little lineman trigger pull gauge here. Alright, clear. Alright, so we'll do an average of 5. Now, for the double action, I will leave it in this half cock mode. You do have that spot where it's all the way down. However, if you were to carry this, you'd carry it in the half cock so the hammer's not directly on the hammer. And I feel like that does take up a little bit of the trigger weight there, just a hair. So that's how I'm going to do all of these. £6, 3.5 ounces. Not too bad for double action. 5 pounds, 11 ounces. Helps if I hit ready again. 4 pounds, 3 ounces, which is a bit ridiculous. 4 pound, 13 ounces. What was that, 4 pulls? Also keep in mind, like I said, I never really cleaned this. I didn't put any oil down in the trigger mechanism, so that might loosen up some. 5 pounds, 6.6 ounces. But for a double action trigger, an average of 5 pounds, 4.5 ounces. Holy crap. I will take that all day. So, let's test out our single action. 3 pounds, 2 ounces. Yeah, this is a nice trigger. Really, all of them are that I have here. Is that 4 or 5? We'll do one more. Okay, I lost track. Count past 2 is hard for me. Jeez Louise. Hell yes. An average trigger pull of 2 pounds, 11 ounces. Just under 3 pounds. That's marvelous. There's got a little bit of take up. Very obvious wall. Reset. That felt a little clunky. Okay, that was the reset. It's a soft click. It's not a very defined click. Okay, I'm a little curious on the reset with that. I got the mag out of here. Yeah, that has a very soft reset as well. I feel like you have to go a little bit further out with this one. Yeah, it's just a very soft reset. Sorry, that reset just kind of caught me off guard. It feels different. This is the 81 and 32. That has a more defined click. Not much. But yeah, so there you go. Cannot argue with that. All right, so who is this gun for? Is this gun the right fit for you? If you're wanting something that's for concealed carry and reliable, you got plenty of other options. This isn't a bad one. That's actually why I bought my first Cheetah. Of course, I was doing that to replace a Polish P64. So, yeah. Or 63. The little baby Makarov. You know what I'm talking about. All steel frame. Anywho. But if you want something just classy, this is definitely classy. You know, if you want a conceal and carry gun for nice occasions that you want to match the way you dress, this is definitely an option. Like I said earlier, though, this is really the main reason I got my 81 and 32. It's great for first-time shooters, getting people exposed to shooting. The number one thing you can do to drive someone away from shooting, and I see it happen all the time, and quite frankly, it pisses me off. Someone that's never shot a gun, and they're given like a huge revolver that's like 44 Rim Mag, and that's their very first experience. That's going to make people not want to shoot guns for the most part. You know, work their way up to that. Like I said, that's why I got the 32, but even in 380, it's a very controllable caliber. Fits perfect in your hand, especially if you have smaller hands. So it's a good gun there. Collectability wise, if you're a person that likes to get into guns and collect like one specific gun, I used to make fun of you people, but more and more I'm noticing that I am one of you people with like my Setney L's and my Beretta Cheetahs. Cheetahs are a great option for you because you have a wide variety of models. You know, the 81 through the 89, I think it's missing 87. And then I think it's the 86 that's pretty much unobtainium in the US. So there's a few hard to find barrels. But even then, once you get a model, you will have the standard model. So, you know, you have the 85, the 85B, the 85BB, the 85F, and the 85FS. So you have a wide variety of guns to collect. A lot of different police departments, not just in Italy, but around the world, have used these guns. So if you're big into surplus collecting, you could have a giant Cheetah collection where they're all surplus. None of them are even made for the commercial market. So once again, to me, that's a nice little feature. This is an outdated gun. It kind of surprised me, honestly, that Beretta was bringing the 80 back in the 80X. Obviously, it's gone through like a major revision. The mags aren't even interchangeable. They got rid of the hump, which to me is one of the things I really like about this gun. It's got more of the straight back like the modern 92s. You know, it's got the cut on there for your red dot. I'm pretty sure it's got a rail on the dust cover. But once again, it's like, to me, that's not a carry gun. That is more of a tactical gun. Once again, people of smaller stature. You know, they exist just like people with larger stature. So you got to get everything for your entire market. A lot of people will call these a girl gun, or they're being marketed specifically for women. And if you look at any of the stuff that Beretta's been putting out on the 90X, yeah, they are. But you shouldn't look at it like they're marketing it towards women. You should look at it like they're marketing it towards people with small hands. That do tend to be women. Plenty of men out there with small hands. There's also women out there with large hands. And it does make me happy that they're making a really good quality gun, where if you do have small hands, you're not constantly having to deal with a gun that's too large, or going to the opposite and dealing with like little pocket guns. This is a very nice in-between. Not a whole lot of aftermarket parts out there for these guns. You know, Wolf Springs does make replacement springs for these. I'm not sure what options you have on sights. The front sight is milled in. I will point out on the 90X, I'm pretty sure the front sight is pinned in. So I do want to point that out. But all the original ones, front sight's milled in. I mean, this back one is driftable. I don't think it's really necessarily designed to be changed out. But, yeah. And then, of course, you have a bunch of grip options. And just so you know, like I said earlier, for whatever reason, the double stack versions seem to have a lot higher grip options out there than the single stack. They do use different grips, the double stack and the single stack. Another thing that really surprises me about these in general is it is nice that Beretta offered the single stack version to get a slightly slimmer grip. I would assume that the double stack is much more, or would have been much more popular. You know, it's not much thicker. You get a lot more ammo capacity. But looking around, at least on the used market, it's almost always the single stack version that you will see. Definitely by far, I feel like the 85 specific variant is by far the most popular that you will find out on the used market. Still not a deal breaker for me. Once again, if you are thinking about carrying it like originally I was, would have been nice to have the extra ammo. But this gun, it's not heavy. It does have an aluminum frame, but it's definitely not the lightest. So once again, with that single stack, you got a little less material in there on the grip to weigh you down. Oh, sounds like my dog's getting pissed off at something. And then you have less weight by not having that additional ammo in there, so you don't have to worry about that either. So small advantages to the single stack, but yeah, not much and not many. So that is it, guys. That is my video on the Beretta the Beretta Cheetah 85 BB, former Guardia di Finanza. I think this is just a beautiful gun. I really do like it. So, alright guys, that is it. That's all I got for you. Do not forget, I am now on Rumble. I joined the great exodus away from YouTube over to Rumble. YouTube was getting really crazy, and they were shutting down videos and channels just for people simply inserting a 30-round magazine into a gun. They got a little carried away. They got a lot of pressure, and it does look like they've eased up on that. A lot of channels that poof were gone during this are now back on, thank God, which is really sad because those people have worked their butt off to get to where they are. And these changes came about without any notification. It just happened. We weren't given a heads up or anything like that. So a lot of people have gone over to Rumble. Yeah, I didn't know what the hell that was either until recently. So I went ahead and did that. I don't like it as much as YouTube. It's not as easy to use as YouTube. A lot of times it doesn't upload the thumbnail I tell it to, so it picks a random image. Also, some of my really old videos, for whatever reason, are just not wanting to upload over there. So I'm in the process of getting my back catalog over there. Anyone that's already subscribed, I apologize for getting 3 emails a day just for my channel, letting me know that another video has been uploaded. I'm just trying to get it out of the way and get it done with. So I am over on Rumble, but YouTube looks like they've calmed down. So hopefully I won't be getting booted off of YouTube. I made a bunch of my videos private during all of this just to make sure nothing crazy happened. And I had a feeling that it was going to calm down and they were going to kind of pull back on what they were saying. So hopefully I'm on YouTube for a while, but come over to Rumble, subscribe to Brown Coat Nerd. Let's see if I think Forgotten Weapons I don't think is over there yet. In Range is over there. We got Mr. Gunslinger, the Duelist, the Black Powder channel I always watch, and several other people. I think CNR Arsenal, 9-Hole Review. They're all over there too. So it is kind of a good idea to find an alternate streaming option over YouTube. It sucks though because I typically watch YouTube channels or videos on my TV, either through my TV or through a game console. Rumble hasn't gotten there yet, so. But just so you guys know, I am over there as well. Okay, that is it. I am done rumbling on. See what I did there? Oh God, I'm so sorry. Alright guys, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. And of course, as always, stay safe and stay shiny.